Thanks for doing this.
That's absolutely fine.
I thought I'd start off just by asking a little bit about yourself, trying to paint a picture of who you are, so we can kind of go from there. So you work for a digital marketing agency?
Yes, work in content. I sound like I'm at an interview now.
It's got all formal.
So, yes, I do. So I do things with content on a page to help sites rank better in Google, basically.
Just for people who have no clue what SEO or digital marketing is, it's if someone has a website and they want to be found on Google, you do what exactly? You write the text?
Yeah, so, well, there's three aspects to it. To getting a site to rank on Google, there's the site being technically sound. So that's its structure, how Google's bots crawl it. There's the content, is it useful, is it engaging, but mainly does it have the right key phrases in that we're trying to rank for. And then links, which is slightly controversial because some people think they're shite. And that is our authoritative sites linking to that website, and that gives them a little boost.
Good websites linking to okay, cool.
Not shite.
And you do the writing of the writing bit, and you got like a creative writing background.
Yes, which is totally non-SEO right now. I've got a creative writing masters.
Where did you go to uni?
Cool. I went to my undergrad was in Sheffield, and I did English literature there because I was like, if you want to be a good writer, you've got to read all the good stuff. So now everyone's like, oh, so you did English literature, so you've probably read all the books. No, I've barely read any fucking books, to be honest with you, because it fucking killed it for us. And then I came back home, and I got some very industrial marketing jobs early on. So I was like,
what, Newcastle?
Yeah.
Born and bred here, right?
Yeah. So I went down to Sheffield for my undergrad, and one of the main reasons was because Arctic Monkeys was from there.
Yeah.
And they were really big in 2007 when I went. So when I was making the decision, it must have been 2006. And then I came back home and I started doing like kind of really clinical or marketing jobs. I marketed forklift truck attachments for a while.
Truck attachments.
So they're the things that
living the dream. You know, you've made a big.
Oh my god! It was
that's what you've always wanted to do.
Job, and it was the things that attach to forklift trucks to make them useful. So which is shite, but it's like keg clamps. So the like things that moved kegs in warehouses and like pallet handlers and stuff. Like I used to have to try and like sell that shit. And then I was like, all right, I need to get back to creativity. So then I did a creative writing masters in Northumbria.
Okay, cool.
So that's how I ended up back in writing, really.
Nice, yeah. So that's that always kind of been your passion, is writing? Did you want to be a writer when you were younger?
Yeah, I think I didn't for like once I kind of was about 16, 17, I was like, right, this is my jam. This is what is gonna be my vibe. I'm gonna be a writer. I always was just looking for a job that I could get in writing, which is why I ended up in marketing in the first place. But really I just wanted to write books. I still want to write books. Yeah. I would just love to like sit and write loads of books that people loved, but then I would just be so lonely and like not in the office because I love like being at work. So I don't think it meshes very well. If there was a whole office full of people who wrote books that sat there at the same time, it would be great.
Yeah, I'm sure you could probably get that, like a WeWork situation where it's like a communal office space and just, yeah. Well, what is it that attracts you to writing? Is it the storytelling aspect of it, or is it the being able to see characters in different...
I think it's storytelling. As you've probably found so far, I have a story for like everything. And I think that's a bit like a lot of my family are like that. They've always got a story for something embarrassing or ridiculous that they've done. But it used to be just the like escapism of reading a book. Like, you know, creating a whole world that somebody could get involved in. Like, loved the thought that I could do that. But I still don't know if I can because I've never finished a book.
Have you attempted to write a few?
Yeah, when I did my dissertation, I did I've got about 15,000 words of a book that I've never picked up for years.
It's like dissertation length.
Yeah, that's what it was effectively. So it was like, this is your final project. Boom. Give us this, and we'll mark it. But how do you mark that? Like, how do you mark somebody's creative
something that's very subjective? Yeah. What was the book about?
So it was. I tried for ages. I tried to do script, and I tried to like create these fantasy lands. And then, have you ever read Skellig?
No.
And it's this tiny, very domestic fantasy about a little boy, I think, who's struggling, and he makes friends with this bird man, who like lives in a shed, and he like I guess a bit like a fallen angel, and he kind of helps them through some like loads of family traumas, and it's kept very domestic, very introspective, like very small, but the story's beautiful, and it was like really important to a lot of people when they were young. And once I read that, I was like, that slightly unlocked the stories that I wanted to write, and I was like, oh, I could do that.
Okay.
I'm not going to write the next Harry Potter, even though I really fucking want it. I really would love to write the next Harry Potter. So I started writing this book about a little boy who goes to a museum, and he like touches a display of like butterflies that are pinned to, you know, like display butterflies where the like wings are pinned, and he touches one of them, and then the wings start moving, and he realizes he brought it to life, and that like flies away.
Right.
And so I like the idea that he had this like power to reincarnate things, but then I had no idea where that was going to go, so that I've never taken it any further. So I had this like beautiful moment, and then I was like,
The way that you write a book, kind of there's one kind of thing that attracts you to. I this kid's got superpowers and he can touch butterflies and it shit happens. Or is there kind of a larger picture, bigger story that you want to kind of tell? I mean, then the powers is the little bit of detail that comes in with that.
I think it depends very much on who's writing it.
Yeah, I've never written anything, so I don't know.
When I worked at the magazine where I used to work was full of women writers, and they were all working on their own projects, and some of them could map out the whole story before they like said a word.
Right.
Whereas I would be like, I really want to write this little bit, and I'd write this bit, and then I'd be like, right, okay, what the fuck do I do with this? And some people were in between. And so we did a lot of like interviews with like famous authors and stuff of, you know, what do you do? And it's so unique to the person. Like my problem's always been that I could never see a full story. I could see like a bit, and I could never see like where would that go, and like I would kind of think, where would it go? And all of them I'd be like, shit, so I just wouldn't bother.
There's probably pros and cons to both of them.
Yeah, I think there is.
Because if you have a set structure that you've agreed from the beginning, you're probably quite limited within that. But if you just kind of meander the way through, you might take you to quite exciting places. So you
cool.
live in Newcastle, born in Newcastle, studied in Sheffield, creative writing, did a master's up here, are 26? 29.
I'm so old, man.
Oh, 29, it's still not 30, that's the big one.
Oh, I'm so close to 30. Like, I'm
It's
at that
it's as
age
close as you
now
get
where
to 30.
everybody's starting to turn 30. Like, my friendship group, that happened at, like, my friendship group, they're more, like...
Just pull it a little bit closer to you.
Turning.
There we go.
They're all starting to turn 30 now. So I'm having to, like...
What does that mean? Fuck. What is turning 30?
I'd never thought about it as a thing, so I don't really know. Like...
Do you feel any kind of pressure that you should be doing something by now, or?
I think I did, and then I threw it out the window, so I don't really. I'd not really thought about it. Like, I always think of myself as about mid-20s, and I think I'll probably always think of myself as about mid-20s.
Probably really healthy.
Until I'm like 42, and I'm like, get a fucking grip, Robyn. Like, now is the time when you have a word with yourself.
As long as you're not 50 and dressing like a 24-year-old, that's why. Even then, you're probably still okay.
Oh, the mutton dressed as lamb saying gets thrown around my family a lot. Like, basically, don't be an old slag, and then I'll be fine.
That saying gets thrown around your family.
Yeah, like, you
do. Be an old slag.
You don't want to be mutton dressed as lamb, so you don't want to, like, dress as a young person if you're a bit older. I don't think that counts when you're 30, because you're still, like...
a child.
Young as fuck, surely.
Yeah, I fully support that theory, yeah.
Are you around the same age as me?
29, yeah.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the crew.
Yeah.
Isn't it great?
As I get older, I enjoy shit more. Like, everything gets better, apart from one thing, that's hangovers. Hangovers is the only thing that gets worse. But otherwise, getting older, it's just been a good experience overall. I've had a good time.
I think, like, consistent, more regular drinking will get your hangovers better. Like,
I've tried that.
Didn't work.
It comes with a lot of pain.
A lot of sadness and pain.
So is this where you expected to be at 30 or 29?
Probably not, no.
Did you have an expectation, or did you kind of just meander like your writing style? Because some people, I'm very much like this. When I was a child, I was like, you have this sorted and this sorted, and the boxes need to be ticked by certain ages. And as I've grown older, I've realised that it's really stupid to let a 5-year-old determine what your goals are by when.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous, yeah. So are you that kind of a person, or do you just kind of take it as it comes?
I was never really that kind of person. I had friends who were like, I want to meet the person I'm going to marry when I'm 23 because I want to have a 2-year engagement and I want to be married by the time I'm 27. And that doesn't work out. That's not worked out for anybody.
No.
And I never really thought, I kind of didn't really picture myself ever beyond like the same year or like the same couple of years. I always had things I wanted to do, but then just kind of didn't really think beyond that. Like, I don't know.
That's pretty good as well, because most people, just looking at myself in particular, can be too caught up in that kind of where's this going, where I'm going to be in 5 years' time, and then you end up never living in the moment and never really enjoying things, and all of a sudden you're 29 and going, whoa, where the last 10 years gone? Shit.
Are you like super goal focused?
Yeah,
so are you like this
yeah.
goal and this goal and this goal and this goal?
Absolutely, yeah.
I've been very much more like rolling with the punches a little bit. Like I've been, job-wise, I would consider myself pretty lucky, in the sense that I've slightly fell into what I wanted to do and then was okay at it, and then have like happened to go to an agency that I really respect and really enjoy, which is great. But I always kind of saw myself sitting in Edinburgh writing books in a cardigan and like having like really mad hair and just like being in a folk band, and like, but I never really had a realistic like, this is probably what it's going to look like.
So is that image fading, or is it still there?
Yeah, I think it's probably gone. I think the real world kicked in the sense that was always like, I think I always had that even when I went to uni, like a vision of being someone who's like artsy and creative, and like, oh, this is what I'll be like, and I'll be with like those people who just don't care what they look like, and they'll wear those weird dresses and they'll be really happy and they'll be really edgy and cool. And actually it doesn't work like that, and life's not like that at all.
No, yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think's been your, up to your last 29 years, your biggest challenge that you've had to overcome?
Really? Probably, I'm a big sufferer of anxiety.
Social anxiety, or like
generalized anxiety. So more like constant worry. So like, it's really hard for people to kind of get, because I come across, I'm like, I'll talk about anything, and like, I'll talk about dicks, and I'll like, I'll like
talk
be
about dicks.
I talk about dicks a lot at work, but just like, I kind of am really like in your face outgoing, but it's been like a real, something I've got to become really aware of, is like an aspect of my personality that probably wasn't there when I was 18, 19, 20.
You became more anxious as you got older?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I think it kicked in post-degree level. So like when I finished and I was like, right, okay, so what happens now? And what does that look like? And what have I got to deal with? And that's when I was like, oh, that's not a really nice feeling. Ooh, okay. So I think I've had to slowly like come to terms with what that is, and like how to deal with that from that.
How have you dealt with that? And, well,
Loads of ways.
Can you paint a picture of exactly what it is, that a scenario or an example that'll make you anxious?
Okay. It can be anything. So when I first went into work, it would be work. So it would be, am I doing a good job? The boss hasn't been very nice to me. Have I messed up? You know, I was a bit late. Are people going to be furious at me? You know, like
overthinking the little things.
Yeah, exactly. So then when you get a bit older and you can kind of get that under control, it becomes beer fear. Yeah, you know, beer fear. So it'll be like, oh, I can't remember this 20 minutes of the night.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Sunday spiders.
I've definitely told somebody that I think they're a cunt. And like, or like I've said like my deepest secrets to my boss, and now they're going to fire me. I
don't think I've had a night out in the last 5 years where I haven't woken up the next day and gone, oh shit.
I think that's age, you know. I think that's just getting old as fuck.
It's probably a combination of that. It's probably also a combination of me being a lightweight. Like,
yeah,
I just say stuff when I'm drunk.
I thought I was a proper top sessioner, but I'm really clearly pathetic.
Top sessioner.
Not a top sessioner at all. So it slowly like manifested itself in like bits of worry, and then it got to the point where it was like unmanageable and it was a problem. And I remember it became not like a worry but a physical symptom.
So yeah, what were the actual symptoms of it? How did it affect you?
I thought I felt something in my neck. Like
really?
I thought
like
I
a
felt
strain,
like
a tingle,
like a lump.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I like
shit.
it was
scary.
fucking nuts.
Very scary.
So my friend's mum had been very poorly, and I think something had gone into my head in that. And I remember leaning over a table at work, rubbing my neck, and feeling what I felt was a lump there and being like, oh shit, like there's something wrong, and like kind of consulting with all the people around me, what do you think this lump is? And they're like, I don't think there's a lump there, and like going to the doctors, and she was like, you're clearly fucking mental. So she was like, I think there's probably a bigger issue going on here. So that's when I first started taking medication, was after that episode. But I was convinced, like, to the point of like no consoling at all, that I was going into that doctor's and they were going to tell me that there was something seriously wrong. Like,
yeah, that must be a
wrong.
petrifying experience.
It was nuts. I think I was about 25, something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting, like, thinking as I was going in, like, I was going in for a death sentence.
Yeah,
it was nuts.
Potentially
it's so, like, mad.
Have to face your own mortality at 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not a thing. It's not a thing. Like, it's not healthy, and it's not... But it's really hard for people who haven't been through it to go, I genuinely believed that, because you're like, oh, you're just being dramatic. Like, wind your neck in, have a word with yourself. Like, I genuinely believed I was going in for that. But... that's when I was like, that's not just like beer fear. That's like a fucking problem.
It's a real thing. Yeah.
It's nuts.
So, just the normal complexities of life had kind of given you this anxiety that had resulted in the symptoms that you thought you'd had a lump, and you didn't have a lump, but it was...
No, she felt it. She went...
there was a lump.
What had happened was... No. What had happened was I'd gone to Amsterdam with my friends. That's had nothing to do with it.
We'll circle back to that later.
Yeah, just put a pin in that, because that's actually quite a good story. And I'd smoke, and have you ever been to Amsterdam? They've got like really multicolored cigarettes, so I had like laced into them, like proper good, like had loads of those. Yes,
Smokies.
Are they the rainbow tabs?
No, this is just a bar. This is just a cafe in Amsterdam.
From Amsterdam.
Yeah. But anyway, carry on.
So I'd had loads of those like magical rainbow tabs that I was like, yes, it's those ones on the far right, I think.
Look like pencils.
So yeah, with the gold ends, like they have gold ends, and then they're like unicorn tabs.
Oh, I do know the ones. Are they like cloves or something like that? They're not normal cigarettes, are
They're
they?
minging. They're like not even a tasty tab. They're like not nice.
So you went to Amsterdam and you smoked some colourful cigarettes.
That wasn't, yeah. Well, that was part of what happened. So when I came back, I had a sore throat and then a sore neck. And so then I went to the doctor and I was like, look, I'm going to confess everything. I didn't confess everything, but I was like, I had, like, I thought combined with the lump, that meant I probably had throat cancer. And she, like, genuinely, and she, like, looked down my throat and was like, there's nothing there. And she felt my neck, like, proper down, like, in there. And she was like, there's nothing there. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I was like, I could feel it. I could feel it. I could probably find it now. And she was like, absolutely nothing there. And, like, that's how mad your brain can be.
Yeah.
Totally crazy.
Yeah, when you put yourself under pressure and you're constantly thinking about something, and it manifests and can get out of control pretty easily. The human mind's a crazy thing, especially when it's over working in overdrive.
Yeah, totally.
You say you were put on, or you went on medication?
Yeah.
What kind of medication?
It's called, so it's an SSRI, so it's a selective...
SSRI, what's that?
So it's selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. I think that's what it stands for, but it stops your body reabsorbing serotonin too fast.
Reabsorbing?
What was it called?
It was an SSRI. It should just come up if you look for that.
So it stop your body breaking down serotonin?
Yeah, it stops it.
So it's in your system for longer.
Yeah.
And so serotonin's the happiness drug.
Yeah.
The underlying deep happiness. Yeah. Okay.
So that's what it does, is the thought that it kind of stops you, like, overly processing the serotonin you have, so that you can, like,
be happy for longer, basically. Yeah.
And
did it work?
Yeah, for a bit.
How long were we on them for?
I've only just come off them.
So what? This is 25. So you've done for 4 years.
I think I've been on them for 3 or 4 years now.
And how would you summarize that whole experience of being on them for 4 years?
I think they're really important. I think they really got me through a difficult time. I would say a lot of people are funny about it. Like, a lot of people would just be like, it's not for me. I'm not one of those people. I would say that's really dangerous attitude. I was the same. I was like, I don't need it. I'm stronger than that.
Feel like it was cheating almost in a way.
Yeah, it feels like you should be able to sort yourself out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't.
No, absolutely no. I get that.
I would say they really did the job I needed them to do when they did it. For a long time, I was like, I feel like level as fuck now. Like, I don't worry about anything. I don't even get beer fear. But I did pile on the beef.
Oh really? Does it make you put on weight?
Absolutely piled on the beef.
Really? Is that? Yeah. Do they make you put on weight, or do they make you comfortable so that you eat more and don't exercise, not as motivated, or?
Probably a bit of both. I didn't change my training, but I probably relaxed and probably ate more. So like proper beefed out, proper beefed out. Really bad.
Get back up at what happened in Amsterdam.
Okay, so Amsterdam when I went was just like, it was like literally a trip with the girls. We went, did the classic DFGS Seaways ferry trip over.
Oh wow! How long did you stay for?
As in, we were in there for 5 hours.
So you do the ferry overnight, which is like 12, 13 hours or something. 5 hours in Amsterdam during the day, and then catch the ferry back.
Yeah, it was great in theory. And we just kind of went over, we'll just have like a nice weekend in Amsterdam. And like I was saying, we went, we had like a little wander around. Me and my mate were like, we're going to go get high. So let's go somewhere get high. So we like picked the first place off the red light district that we could find. And it was like somebody's, or like some teenager's back basement. So it was like, walls were all black, like cubicles around the outside, pool table in the middle, playing Because I Got High as we walked in. And then like quickly switched to Crack a Bottle by Eminem, which I was like, all right, okay, maybe I am into this now. Maybe it's fine. So we bought like 2 pre-rolled up horrible joints and we're like, let's just smoke them. So because I've been reading some books about like, all right, this is why you have these anxiety symptoms. This is what you need to do. Once my heart started kicking off, I was like, I just need to walk. So I was like, right, let's go. So I like started marching them around Amsterdam, like trying to burn off this like horrible anxiety feeling I had. And we'd like been wandering around for an hour or so. And we're like, let's get something to eat. And I remember sitting down somewhere and being so in my head and like so unhappy. And like they were eating these cheese toasties and chips. And I was just like, I can't get any pleasure out of any of this. This is just a horrible time. And I was like, I haven't said anything in a while. They're going to know things aren't right. So I was just going, yeah. Just like nodding along, like thinking, I don't even know what they're talking about. So we wandered around for a bit more. Bear in mind, we're in a very limited 5-hour space that we could do anything with. And then we got to like, everybody who goes to Amsterdam poses in these clogs. They're like clogs on the street, like these big clogs.
I've seen the photos.
Yeah. And so we're like, let's get some pictures by the clogs. And I was like, fuck this. I couldn't think of anything else I would be in less than these fucking clogs. And so I was like, yay, let's do it. As a queue started to form. So I was like, I'll go in the clog first. And you have to slide your legs into the clog and then like lean up at the little toe. Yes.
Those are the ones.
So I was like, my feet were right in and my like head and arms, and my friend was behind me. And I was like,
we're in it with you.
Yeah, so I was like up there, right up at the front where that lass is, and thinking, just gonna be stuck in this clog now. Everybody around me.
In a clog.
This cute, yeah, like kind of like that woman and a child.
On the right there.
Or 2 siblings. It's been captioned.
2 children.
And so I was that lady child, and I was sitting thinking, there's a queue forming. I'm just not going to be able to get out of this clog. And like as my friend got out, I was like, "Come on, Robyn." I was like, "I'm not sure if I can do this," and I like kind of had to slowly talk myself out of getting out of this clog, and it was horrible. And then we had to go back on the coach and then get back on the ferry. And it was only when we got back to our hotel room, as in ferry hotel, and then went to the bar and had a drink, that I was like, okay, now I feel normal. I was like, girls, I've had the worst fucking 5 hours of my life. They're like, yeah, we know, Robyn. You've been absolutely mental for the last 5 hours. I had absolutely no idea. I was just like, oh, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It's just so like Virgin Amsterdam. It's embarrassing, but like it was awful. It was just I wasn't in the right headspace for it at all.
Amsterdam's just, it's different on so many levels. Like I don't think anyone can be kind of go to Amsterdam and just experience it
Have a nice
willy
time.
nilly. Yeah, kind of have a nice time because everything is just so outrageous and so strong.
Yeah.
I mean, I've say that I've been to Amsterdam. I've had a great time. It's been awesome. But I've smoked weed here and I've smoked weed there, and it's not the same thing. Like there, it's just different stuff. You have a completely different experience when you're in a new city and you're
Mhm.
walking around. You're trying to interact with people, and you're a little bit high. It's difficult. And yeah, no, I'm fully with
It
you.
was not. And it wasn't the right time because it was after that time that I started the lump in my neck thing happened. So I clearly wasn't in the right headspace to have any sort of high fun.
To have that on top of
Um,
it, yeah.
but I was like, what a waste. And I've been and like Amsterdam's lush, like it's
It is
beautiful,
beautiful,
and there's
yeah.
I've been there before and just had like a nice holiday in
Mm.
Amsterdam. I was like, what a waste. But then in 5 hours, what are you actually going to see?
Mm.
Like, it's fine.
It's a beautiful city to just go drinking and
Hmm.
very expensive but good. Have you ever had any nicknames?
No, not really. Mum, why did I ask that? Out of interest.
I was just wondering. This is a
No,
question.
my mum calls me Bin, like Robyn, like Bin, like the
Okay.
second half of my name.
Is that just because it's shorter or because she thinks you might have something
It's
to
because
do with bins?
she's called Maureen and I call her Reen.
Right,
So
okay.
it's like the synergy. But apart from that, no. It's hard to nickname Robyn, although once
Rob's, Bob.
that's happening more at Silverbean now.
Okay.
A few people call me Robs or Robyn, but or
Robbo.
Robbo or Bobsy. I used to
Bobsy.
get Bobsy a lot.
Uncle Bob.
Um, but I once had to. I interviewed. Have you heard of Roy Chubby Brown?
Yes, yeah. The Geordie stand-up
He's
comedian.
oh, he's awful. I once had to phone interview him, and I was about 22. Um,
What were you doing that you were phone interviewing a comedian when you were 22?
so I was at a local marketing and PR agency, and the woman who owned it had connections with the arena and a couple of like the local gig venues. Um, so was like, oh, like Roy Chubby Brown's coming up. Does anyone want to interview? And I was like, fucking yeah, go on then. I had interviewed Heather Small before then, which was absolutely non-event. Like it was as neutral as fuck. It wasn't that exciting. And so I was like, I know he's going to be an absolute menace. So I was like
He's
shitting myself. He's
super crude, isn't he? Super
so
like,
crude,
yeah.
like vulgar as fuck.
We've got a
Like,
clip of Roy Joey Brown. Anyway, carry on.
um, so I was expecting the worst. And the way these dealios work is you'll ring into like an agent's phone, or and they'll give you a number, or they'll patch you through to their hotel phone, and then you kind of meet in the middle. He's awful. Absolutely awful. Um, and so I rang him, and I was like, because I like was interviewing him in an office where there was like five other people listening at the same time. So I was like, it's not like, oh, I'm by myself, and like everyone was like waiting to hear what happened.
All right, I guess the pressure's on.
And he just answered the phone, and he was like, "Hello, Robyn. Do you have red breasts?" And I was like,
Do you,
"No." I was like,
I've just
"No."
pulled it up and it looks like he's been banned from performing. So
Well,
I might explain it.
well, it's 2018, times have
yeah,
changed.
no, he had an existing career after he interviewed me. I definitely didn't downfall him.
But that, okay, so 22, I suffer from anxiety and
That's-
volunteered to phone interview Roy Chubby
It
Brown in
was
front of an audience.
it was before it kicked in. Really, that was before the anxiety kicked in.
That's interesting.
But I used
It's
to do
quite, so
loads
you
all the time.
were quite like outgoing and put yourself in unusual situations, and then the anxiety and everything
I
creeped
would
in later.
say I still am, but do it with a lot more discomfort than I probably did like when I was younger. So like I would be like, I remember when I was in sixth form, we always did a pantomime. There was like Christmas pantomime. The sixth formers would do it with like the partner in boys' school, and for years I was like, I'm going to write that pantomime when it's up for us. I'm going to write it. And I just did it. And I like remember writing it and not giving a shit if anyone liked it, and I still did this. So like I did that without thinking. I'll probably still do it now, just with a lot more concern over how it would be received, maybe.
Interesting. Yeah.
Than I would have back then. But I still would, like, even now, I would still interview Roy Chubby Brown. I would just probably shit myself for like 3 days before rather than like half a day before.
Can you put that build up of anxiety down to like any particular event that happened that caused it, or was it just a gradual thing that occurred as you got older?
I don't know. I think it's age, maybe, as in
You're more aware of
you're
the
more aware of
consequences.
the consequences. I think there is a family propensity to it. Absolutely.
Okay, so
Yeah,
hereditary.
hugely. So a lot of my like my brother's the same, a lot of my aunties and uncles are the same, my mom's the same. So there is like a inherent
Almost like a
worry,
biological
like
trait, yeah.
worrier in people. But I don't know what really like ticked it over from being something to being a thing. Like I don't know. Um, but one of the things, like when you go to the doctors about it, they have like a questionnaire of things that they ask you when you go. So a lot of it is around, does it stop you doing things? So like that's how they assess how bad you are. So it's like, do you have little or no interest in doing X, Y, and Z? Do you still take pleasure in? And it's more to judge how it's impacting your life. So can you still read a book and feel anxious? Can you still concentrate on work?
Hmm.
And so, because I've always been like, yeah, I can still do all of those things. I'm just
Yeah.
like, it's just here the whole time.
Yeah.
That's never really been diagnosed as a big problem.
So it just changes your ability to enjoy something rather than
Yeah,
actually your ability to
to
do
do it.
stuff.
Yeah,
Like, well,
yeah,
that's quite
completely.
important because I think if
Yeah.
you just start letting it affect you and dictate your life, then all
hmm
of a sudden becomes a compounding problem, doesn't it?
Yeah, and there's so many people in the world who've got proper depression who can't get out of bed and who can't, face going out. And like it's not like that at all. It's more just that you do it with this like slight over your head almost all the time.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting.
It's but like I think it's like I don't really want to like act like I'm the first person who's had it or the first person, like the last person who will have it. I think people are more and more open to that being a thing now and are more and more comfortable with talking about it. And that's a big reason why, like at work, I talk about it constantly.
Mm.
But it's so that when people hear it, they go, "Oh, well, if they're feeling the same, they can like, all right, okay, well, that's normal then. That's
Yeah, they can
okay."
relate to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can then learn from it,
hmm
and because yeah, I suppose if you were feeling like that and you thought that you were the only person that felt like that, you would think
Yeah.
it wasn't normal or something wrong with you. You could, yeah, okay, I got you. Oh,
So
that's
I kind
smart.
of it's almost like a pantomime version of like, oh, I feel so stressed. But then it just means that if someone's like, oh, actually, I'm feeling a bit shit, like, what have you been doing about it? And then you can kind of get people talking about it. And that
Mm.
worked not at this job, but a lot. The last job, someone actually came to me and said, oh, I've heard you talking about it. I've gone to the doctors. And I was like, right, okay, well, job done.
Yeah,
Like, that's it.
absolutely. You
Yeah.
help someone just by being a certain way.
Being a loud bitch.
Yeah.
Being an absolute extra cow.
You mentioned earlier on that you put on some weight despite your training,
Yeah.
keeping constant. What kind of training do you do, or did you do?
So, I guess I probably should start with I did nothing for years. And then when I finished university, I was like, I need to do something. So I did the classic, I'm going to do the Great North Run. That's going to get me into exercise,
I did
as
that.
every single Geordie does.
I did
Yeah.
that as well. Yeah.
Um, and then I got into it. I went a little bit more into weight training and stuff like that. And my weight always stayed down. Because I've always like a bit like I'll eat a pie, I'll put on like 4 stone. Like I'm always that kind of person. Um, but it was always like I was kind of very slender or slender enough. And then when I started taking the tablets, I didn't really adjust my training at all. So I was doing probably, a couple of cardio, like a couple of spin classes and then a few weight training days, something like that. And then I moved on a bit more to like heavyweight training, so a bit more like deadlift, squats, chest, like proper
Powerlifting stuff. Yeah.
powerlifting.
Where
Yeah.
did you get taught that stuff? How did
I just went to like a local pure gym and worked with a personal trainer there because I was like, I just want to be dead strong. But what I really meant,
why did you want to be that strong?
don't know. what I wanted to be was dead strong, but I wanted to be like a lean dead strong, not like a didn't
Ripped.
care what I looked like dead strong.
You never had that idea, I want to be like, look a certain way. It was more about the performance, more about the output.
I think that's what I said.
Okay.
So I think I was always like, oh yeah, all I'm interested in is being really strong and just picking up the most weight. But what I really wanted to be was ripped as fucking skinny, and
Right.
I just didn't really necessarily
Because
portray that.
those two things are opposite, really.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
aren't they?
Yeah.
Are they not? So I think so when I started training with this personal trainer, it was along the same time as I started taking my tablets, and this went on for about a year, and I was kind of like, feeling a little bit bulky now, and I'd stopped weighing myself because I was like, that's not a thing, which again isn't like. Just weigh yourself. That's how you know if you put on weight. See, just weigh yourself rather than just avoiding the scales. And I had this like, I remember driving home from somewhere and having this really frank conversation with my mom where I was like, Mom, am I bigger?
I'm a bigger.
Am I bigger?
Am I bigger?
Am I bigger? I was like, I feel massive and I don't know, like, tell me the truth, am I bigger? And she was like, well, yeah, Robyn, but I just thought you meant to be like that because I've been training so much. And she was like, you just kept saying you wanted to be strong and now you're so bulky. And I was like, fuck, that's not what I wanted out at all.
So you like muscly big, like?
I think I was a bit of both. So like I wasn't even deadlifting that heavy. Like
my size.
I don't even know how to answer that. Like there was muscle. And then there was definitely still some fat around there as well.
But you need a layer of fat.
No, but that's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. And so I was building muscle and not losing any fat. I think that's what, like now.
But your training was just like strength cycles.
It was strength training and then the occasional run or spin class. But
And your food, your diet was just
pretty
anything.
decent. No, it was.
Were you counting macros or?
I wasn't macroing it then. I macroed after that, but it was too fucking late by that. So I was eating pretty clean. Still pounding 6 pints of an evening, which wouldn't have helped anybody.
Yeah.
But I could always do that when pre-antidepressant. So I was like,
there's also age though. Age comes into it massively.
No. Does it have to? Does it have to come in anything?
Yeah.
So I think it was a combination of things. So I think getting a little bit older, right, fine, let's acknowledge it. That's probably, so I was probably, I guess, 25, 26. So it's probably slowing down in terms of getting away with anything. I didn't adjust my drinking at all, and I'm a pint drinker, like exclusively.
Carbs, yeah.
Sugary carbs, and pints of cider drinker usually.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so like double cidery carbs. And then I was like lifting really heavy. I tried protein shakes, but that was just making me more massive. And I thought I was doing everything right, and so I didn't understand it at all.
So how long was this period for?
Oh God, I think it slowly crept on over maybe a year or two.
Okay. And how long did it take you to make a change?
Once I realised,
So it took you about a year or two to realise?
I would say probably 2 years to realise. And then, so I was maybe about a year. And like, then I was like balls deep in the antidepressants. So I was like, well, that can't change. So what else can change? Because I was like, that's going to stay as it is for now. And I didn't know whether it was that. I'd probably, like, a lot of me wants to write an article for like, there's loads of like mental health magazines and stuff around. I just want to write an article and say, they will make you fat, but it's fine. Because a lot of people are like, oh, they won't, you'll be, they could, and they probably will, and that's all right, because you'd rather be happy and a bit fatter than fucking miserable and a bit skinnier.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
thin and suicidal, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I won't go that far, but yeah. And so I like switched. I kind of started training with a different personal trainer. I don't know even why I felt like I needed that, because I know I know what to do, but I think just someone like what's the word, like on the arse, so to speak, like kind of telling me, or like someone checking on me,
Keeping count kind of thing, yeah.
and so I think I lost a lot very quickly. So I think I lost like maybe 6 or 7 kilos from the first couple of weeks, and
Wow,
then
that's
it
massive weight
slowly,
loss.
yeah, it
Very,
went
very
off
quickly.
really fast.
Yeah. What did you change? What in terms of training?
Stop drinking pints. I cut out the pints, which was some of it. I stopped drinking pints. Um, I didn't even do much cardio, which actually I really enjoy, so I don't know why I didn't do it. And I was just super strict, like super, right, there's something at stake now. And like the first test was like I signed up to this new personal trainer, like, right, okay, this is me, I'm gonna go back to skinny. And
Keeps it happening.
and I went to a Hindu in Benidorm the following week. So that was a small test, but I was like, I'll just not drink any pints, I'll be fine.
Did you manage to do that?
Yeah.
No pints on a Hindu.
Mm-mm.
What'd you drink?
Oh, what the fuck did I drink? Well, I had a Guinness at the airport, which is worse. I was like, just don't tell anyone. And then I don't know what the fuck. Maybe I just drank like gin or vodka or something. I don't enjoy that as much.
Is Guinness worse than a pint of
Calorie
lager?
wise, of cider, no,
Look
I
at
don't
that,
think
Jack.
it is. I think I've spent extensive time on it, and I think a pint of cider can be up to 350 calories, which
Oh,
is
that's-
disgusting.
Love a pint of Guinness, especially now that we're going into winter. It becomes Guinness season. I can't really drink it during the summer, but I always kind of say to myself, "Oh, it's okay. It's less calories than lager," but I might be wrong.
No, I think it's definitely
Yeah.
less calories than cider. Yeah, that's not bad.
A 12-ounce serving is going to set you back 125 calories, just 15 more than the same serving of Bud Light. Alcohol's beer's main calorie source, and since Guinness is for it. Okay, how much is a pint of beer? That's Bud Light. It's not necessarily.
I think a pint of beer is about 200, 180 maybe. Cider's in the 200s easy. Yeah.
2.8. What was Guinness? 125.
Check again, because that was
125, 2.8. Yeah, so
that
that's
can't be 125 in a pint of
substantially
Guinness.
less. Yeah,
that
that
can't
almost
be.
half. How much is in a pint of cider?
Oh, it's disgusting, man. It's disgusting.
And then red wine, because I had a lot of that last night.
Red wine's not bad, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
210.
You sing 5 of those bad boys.
That's
And eat a
1,000
couple of
calories.
pies, yeah.
Same as a single sugar donut.
Do we have to compare it to donuts? Do
If
we
you
have
d-
Eating like a Krispy
You'd
Kreme.
sat and eaten 5 giant donuts. You'd feel terrible with yourself.
Yeah, no, but I'd happily.
Do that every Friday night. It adds up.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, we're gonna
Red wine's not bad.
stick to Guinness. That's not too bad.
No, I wouldn't worry about
But
that.
100 grams. How much is 100 grams though?
So it'll be 100 milliliters, so you'll probably get like, what, 180 in a glass?
Still, okay, Guinness asks. Okay, cool. Well, red wine and Guinness it is.
That is one serving.
I'm going to have to make some
is-
adjustments.
Yeah, 125. I guess that's a glass.
Nice. So yeah, so just cut back on the pints, started eating more strictly.
Well, I had to cut the
doing a
pints
little
out
more cardio.
altogether, and it made me really sad. Like
That's
really
your
sad.
poison of choice.
Yeah, if there was no implications, that would be my. If there was no weight gain implications, like embarrassment goes out the window. But if there was no weight gain implications, which I guess there isn't now, I would have.
What do you mean by there isn't now?
Oh, because I stopped taking them.
The antidepressants, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Only recently though, like
Okay.
really recently.
How did you find that whole experience coming
It
off
was
them?
total accidental. I just ran out.
Right. Okay. Didn't forgot to make a new appointment with. How long were you getting scripts for?
3 years.
You were getting script? No. Sorry. I mean,
Oh.
like at a time.
3 months.
Okay.
3-month batches. So I saw a doctor every 3 months. And I ran out really recently, which was really bad timing. And I was just like, okay, right, I'll just deal with it. So I ran out. And then couldn't get an appointment for a week, then couldn't get an appointment for 2 weeks. And slowly was just like, I'm just gonna see how this goes. So after about 3 weeks, I was like, I went back. I kind of got an appointment. I went. I just told her the truth, and I was like, "Look, I've ran out. It is what it is. What do you think?" She was like, "Well, the withdrawal will be gone. So do you want to just give it a try?" So I was like, "Okay." I didn't really plan it, but I was like, "Okay, that's fine."
Wow. Okay. So it wasn't like a I'm in this place in my life and I'm ready to kind of take on this new challenge
In the
of
fucking wrong place in my life to do that, Brett,
yeah,
if
yeah.
anything.
So for obviously people don't know, you just come out of how long was the relationship?
6 years.
6 years. How long ago was the breakup?
About 7 or 8 weeks now.
7 or 8 weeks.
Yeah,
So it's
couple of
still
months.
very recent.
Relatively recent.
And that was the exact time that you decided to come off, or not decided to, but came off.
Just happened to.
Yeah. And coped with that fine?
I think so. I think because there's been so much going on, it was easy enough not to attribute, like, so when you come off like long-term medication like that, there's often a lot of like withdrawal symptoms. Really, it's like coming off anything. So it'd be like physical symptoms, like feeling ill in different ways, and because I've been anxious in all those ways, I've just not really noticed it, so it's fine. I'm like, oh,
You had to cope with a certain level of discomfort the whole time.
Yeah,
So
so
that this
might as well.
extra thing is quite easy. Pretty nice way of looking at it, eh?
Yeah, well, I think it's more just being lucky, and if it doesn't work out, then I'll just take them again. But I
They're
feel
always
like
there.
when you're so far down the road of being, I've tried to come off them once before, and it was around the time. Have you heard when Silver Bean took us to Berlin?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
And I was like, right.
So Silverbean is the company you work for.
Yeah. And so they were celebrating their 15th birthday, and they're like, oh, we're going to take all the staff to Berlin, which is wonderful in many ways.
Very nice of them.
And I think I've been there maybe 3 or 4 months by then. So knew people a lot, or knew people well enough, but not well enough where you would be your best self around them. Like you would be a very much a truncated version of
Have
your
some kind
real
of
drunk
face on,
self.
yeah.
And I remember I must have stopped taking them pre-Berlin. And I remember after 2 to 3 days of heavy drinking with colleagues who you don't really know that well, being in Berlin airport, waiting for the plane and just wandering around thinking, this is fucking awful. And just like walking past people. I think I walked past you, Jack, and just being like, hi.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did.
Your, Kate Boy, that unicorn.
Yeah, I had a cuddly unicorn called Sausage because when I was in Berlin, I was like, I'm getting so much sausage while I'm in Berlin.
Sorry, what? You had a what? Called what?
Right. Pre-Berlin, I was like, all I'm going to do in Berlin is eat constant sausage.
Okay.
And I mean the sausage type of
What
sausage.
an amazing goal to have.
It's the simple things, Brett. And especially currywurst, which turned out to be a fucking massive disappointment because I thought it would be like curry sauce
Yeah.
from here.
Oh,
It's not, is it?
no. Well, I don't know, but
No,
I
it's
can't
really.
imagine a different type of curry.
It's like a tomatoey curry rather than
it's not like chip shop curry.
Yeah.
it's like it's a disappointment curry. So I swiftly went off the German sausage, and my manager at the time was like, could tell I was anxious in the airport because I got there and I was like, when I'm anxious my eyes go fucking mental. So I was like, and she bought me this cuddly unicorn that I named Sausage. So I was just wandering around Berlin airport with this cuddly unicorn called Sausage, and that's I think when I saw you, Jack.
Yeah.
And was just like, I think I just like leant next to your knees for a while, just like, can't do this anymore. It's horrible.
I'm gonna get the footage or an image of that. Pull up.
Was there a photo?
There's a video, isn't there?
Was kind of stupidly recorded on like 5 separate GoPros.
Yeah.
So, sorry, John. Remember I went to London from Berlin
Yeah.
to a conference with Andy, and I had a GoPro, but I had no way of knowing what was on it. So like, I've got similar anxiety issues. I was just like in London in a hotel with this GoPro, not knowing what was on it, and then I had to hand it in blindly
Oh.
when I got back to
Oh, the Silverbean give you the GoPros.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, okay.
so I hand this GoPro in blindly when I got back to work, and then just like hope that nothing bad was on it.
Nothing
But
incriminating.
I had the GoPro the entire time, so
Yeah.
I could have made a fool of myself for like 3 straight days.
And it'll have all been on your point of view as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So if you think whatever you do with your head is going to get seen by the whole company.
People were caught a few times. But yeah, Robyn's airplane breakdown with unicorn is caught on there somewhere. I'll pull it up sometime.
So it was like, I've eventually found myself at the Berlin airport bar sausage under my arm, like a quivering shell of a woman, because I'd been off my tablets and it had been 2 days on the drink with people I didn't know, and my friend Beth was like, just have a pint, it'll sort out.
To have a pint and it'll sort it out.
And it was within the finishing of the first pint where she was like, she saw it like lift off me, like the anxiety, and I was just,
really?
Yeah, really weirdly. She was like, you look like a different person. Yeah, you look like it kind of lifted it off. It was horrible, like, which is really concerning, if anything.
Yeah, absolutely. What did that make you think?
I was just glad to feel better.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you guys want to take a quick break?
Sure, we can do, yeah. So while we were on the break there, we were just talking about, I had a bath this morning, and I love baths, and I had one because I was a little bit hungover. But it sorted me right out. It was great. And then you said you had an interesting bath story that you wanted to tell.
Yep, well, I'll wait till Garcon is finished. Pour it, bitch.
So Robyn's asked us to clarify that if it was up to her, we would continue to drink cans, but we've run out because Jack didn't buy enough, so we had to move on to red wine.
Yeah, it's not my fault.
It's not Robyn's fault, everyone.
That's the disclaimer. So a bath is my personal wash of choice in the sense that I wouldn't have a shower. Like, a shower can fuck off, in my opinion.
A shower can fuck off.
Yeah.
That sounds like you hate showers.
I
You don't just like baths, you hate showers.
My shower's particularly poor.
Is it in a bath? Is it a shower in a bath?
Yeah, so it's like, but
Hate
it's
those ones.
controlled by like the boiler, so it's not like it's its own electric vibe.
It's not a power shower.
No, it's like, it's straight from the tap, vintage shit, and it is a poor thing.
Trickle.
Or intense but cold and hot at the same time, and I just can't get on board with that.
No, well, it doesn't sound good. Cold and hot. So you love baths. Big bath fan.
Yeah, I would say I'm big into baths in a reasonable way. So they are my, like, getting ready for work. That is how I wash. Like, and I know it's indulgent, and I know that I, like, live alone, and it could keep me water costs down if I had a shower, but the bath is the one for me for my washing.
Do you wake up extra early?
Yeah, to run the bath.
You'd rather bath than sleep.
Well, no, there is a.
That's the choice you're making, isn't
No,
it?
there's a happy medium between the two. If you get it just right, you can set the bath off, tiny micro nap, get in the bath.
Smart.
If your alarms are sorted.
Smart. That is very smart, because I do take a micro nap, but I don't use that time for anything productive.
No, you could be running a very indulgent bath.
Do you bubble?
I don't bubble often. It's
just straight up hard water.
just like normal hard water. Just dip
Neat.
yourself in.
Neat, as some people call
dishes.
it.
Just put some very liquid in there and deal with it. But the micro napping thing segues into the bath story of the hour, which is recently when I've been off the rails for about 3 weeks. I'm back on the rails now. I had like a 3-week segue where I was slightly off the rails and I was misbehaving. And this followed from a night out. I went out with a couple of girls from work. 1 a.m. bedtime, not too bad. Like,
During the
very
week?
salvageable. Yeah, it was a casual Thursday.
School nights.
Yeah.
Thursdays.
Which are a lovely evening to go out drinking. Like,
They really are, because no one does any work on a Friday anyway.
even less when you're hungover.
Yeah, but it's almost understandable and excusable.
So we went and we did like really weird places. We went to like El Torero and had like some tapas and like loads of sangria, which was good. Telegraph, king of places.
Do you like Telegraph? Yeah.
And then Jaloo, which is just the house of sluts.
Yeah. I used to
All of
love going there when I was like just graduated, because it's the only place in Newcastle where there's the ratio of girls to guys is like 9-1.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
yeah.
incredible.
You'd absolutely clean up in there
Yeah.
within a second. And this night was no different. There was they were firing out of some sort of confetti cannons, like Jaloo dollar bills that Beth was then stuffing in my bra. I've got some on my desk now as like a little memento. And and they had some. I've done like 2 to 3 pole fitness classes in my life. So I found a pole and thought I was, Dave on Tees or something.
Oh wow, this is
And
great.
just absolutely, I was like, yeah, I'm on it. Jumped, obviously had no strength or ability, and just crumpled into the floor. So I was like, right, time to head home. Anyway, so home about 1:30, who knows? And in the drunken state, had not put my phone on charge. And I'm a kind of sporadic alarmer, so I'll have one at 6, I've one at 6:10, one at 6:20. It's usually 6:15 on my
Do you
clock.
snooze as well?
I snooze sometimes because I've got the bath to deal with,
So you snooze
So-
and set. So snooze. What's the snooze? 8 minutes or 9 minutes? So you have alarm.
Oh no, I'm not off my tits. I'll dismiss that alarm and I'll wait for the next one. I'm not
Okay,
an
right.
animal. So
It's just like
the
some.
6 alarm would usually go off because I'll go in for 8 where I can, if I can drive myself out the scratcher. So 6 a.m. alarm went off. Big hangover. I can do this. Put the bath on. Phone died, and so my subsequent alarms did not go off, and my phone was dead. So I woke up like something is not right. No, like I had no concept of time.
Oh,
It was
no.
definitely daylight. I definitely felt well rested, so I was like, hours have passed since
Oh
my
no!
last
And the
wake,
bath's been running.
and I didn't even think about that for a second. So I like plugged my phone in, and I had messages from like my friends, like, Beth, I'm coming to your house. What is going on? Jack, where are you, fam? That's it. Where are you, fam? I was like missed calls, like people, haha, you're in so much trouble. You must have been more horrible things. So I kind of messaged and said, oh, like, sorry, I've just woke up. I'll be in soon. Then was like, the bathroom. So I like, ran into the bathroom. The bath had over flooded into the rest of the bathroom. But not too bad. It could have been worse. It was just like a gentle coating on the bathroom floor.
Oh wow!
So I just like threw down all the dry items that I owned into like one space, like bed sheets,
More than towels, everything.
towels, bed sheets, pajamas, because I was like, that pajamas are absorbent. I threw it all in there. Had a bath because at that point I needed a wash, and like why waste the bath?
You may as well utilize it. Yeah.
And then like kind of got ready and got an Uber to work, and that thought,
What
like
time was it when you woke up? Do you know?
about 10:15.
10:15. So you talk about 4 hours of bath water.
Bath running. I mean,
How?
10:15. I mean,
I got into work at
quite
11.
quite late for work as it is, and then still had the bath.
I still had the bath.
Yeah,
How does 4 hours of water not fuck up your entire flat?
we boiler shit, and fortunately that worked in my favour that day. So it was a gentle trickle over a number of hours, so it's fine. And obviously you've got that little fella in your bath that like will take some of it out.
That is true. Yeah, you got the little fella.
So it was, some of it was fine. So it was really like, it hadn't even gone into, because I live in a downstairs flat, hadn't gone into like the hall or anywhere else. It just
lucky.
had like lived, like kind of set up camp in the bathroom, so that was okay. But that, like, when my Uber pulled up like into Holt Yard, I was like, oh, fuck. And so like I had some like leftover cigarettes the night before, and I was like, you know what, I'm late already, so I sat there and like had the saddest tab of my life, like, oh god, I've got to face them all. And I like kind of geared myself up and went in at definitely gone 11, and the whole of the office applauded. Like, as in standing, slow clapping, Ray, she's finally here. And I was like, sorry. And I kind of said to my boss, like, I'm really, really sorry. Like, I'll make the time up. And he just said, oh, you're vulnerable at the minute. Don't worry about it. It's Beth's fault for taking it out. And I was like, yes, absolutely destroyed it. So I didn't even get wrong.
Excellent.
Then I left at 4:30.
To go sort out the bathroom mess.
Yeah, well, it was just all wet towels. It was
Yeah,
fine. It
that's
wasn't
okay.
like the end of the world.
All's well that ends well.
It's not okay though. Like,
So that's the risks of having a bath in the
yeah,
morning.
don't
You still
bath
do it though? You still chosen to?
oh, every day.
Every day you understand the risks and are willing to run them on a daily basis.
Some
Every
people
day.
just want to watch the world burn. That would be me, so it's fine. But yeah, that was bad. I'm on the rails now, so it's fine.
On the rails. What does that mean?
So I went temporarily off the rails.
Okay, yeah, I know what off the rails means. So on the rails must
So
mean the
I'm
opposite.
I'm like now on the rails.
So what did? How did you go off the rails?
I just did a lot of really embarrassing and stupid things in a very small amount of time.
Was that the last?
So that was, yeah, it was probably about 4 weeks ago,
So you broke up with your boyfriend 6 weeks ago,
something like that.
and then 4 weeks ago you went off the rails.
Yeah,
for...
so I went off the rails pretty much immediately, and then had like a good solid 3 weeks of relatively poor behaviour. It was mainly the team night out was the worst one. Where I saw you. In
Yeah,
fact.
I was there. Yeah, this is where we had the conversation to convince you to come on this podcast.
Sauce about that. But it got worse after I left you. Like so much worse.
Did it really? Oh,
Yeah.
what time did I leave you? It was like 2.
Battered. Oh no, it got so much. That's when
Because
that's when it happened.
you weren't
I wasn't in a great way.
we were struggling to stand when I left you.
Coming on. I'm sorry.
But okay, so one of the conversations we had that night was about your float tank.
Oh yeah, the flow tank that ended all flow tanks.
Yeah, so you've done it once. So you've tried it.
Yeah,
You
I'm
gave it
gonna
a bash.
definitely have one again.
Yeah. How did you find the whole experience?
Totally not what I thought it was going to be. Like, I thought you would go in and instantly think of nothing,
Mm-hmm.
and like almost that your brain would naturally shut off. That didn't happen for me at all.
What did you find?
I
Did you go in there sober, stone cold sober?
Yeah, completely sober.
So these are them.
Yeah,
But
so for anyone that doesn't know this as well, a float tank. Well, the one we used hadn't looked like this before.
We
It
go on
doesn't
the
quite look like
side.
that.
Similar idea.
Very similar. It's big. Like you can't touch the sides.
It's like sensory
Yeah,
deprivation.
it's
It's
more
kind of like that one,
yeah.
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 The entrance is on the side.
So it's very much like the water is the same temperature as your body. You feel totally weightless. There's no sound. There's no light. There's nothing to stimulate you except your own
There's
brain.
loads of salt in the water, so you float on top of the water. You don't touch any of the sides.
Did you taste the water when you did it?
I may have.
I had a little taste as well.
I don't think I intentionally tasted it.
I was like,
The idea behind them is that you don't feel anything. You don't have any external stimuli. So everything's darker. So your mind can function at a slightly higher capacity or higher rate. Yeah. And so I've done them. I've done them three times.
you had
or so.
3.
Yeah.
I've only had the
And
one.
I found the first one very, very useful. And the subsequent 2 less useful. So I only did 3, then I kind of called it quits. That was about a year ago, though. I might go give it another
Yeah,
bash.
give it like a whirl.
Did think it was good, though. So how
Oh
did
my
you find
God.
it?
It was. I had it a very key kind of turning things around time. So I was working out what I was going to do about my relationship at the time.
Did you go in there with that intention? Or did you go in there and just go, I'm just going to see what this is about?
I went in thinking, I know I have shit to deal with, but hopefully I'll just think of nothing. Like I
Okay.
kind of thought, oh well, I'll let this bit bubble and then that'll go away. And then I'll just be able to think of nothing and then that'll be nice.
What was it that convinced you to go into it?
Oh, it was only that, well, Liam, my friend, bought it for us and he was like, because he knows I suffer from anxiety, and he was like, I think this will really help you, like kind of just have a bit of time in your head and just see what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I trust his opinion, so I was like, I'll just give it a go. And it did help me, but just in not a way that I thought it would at all. And I found it, I think if I went in now, it would be totally different. I think I'd be able to like relax a bit more and like.
Okay. Did you feel quite anxious in there?
No, weirdly, I thought I would. Like, a lot of people like get out halfway through or have a little breather. I just stayed in the whole time.
You found it quite comfortable?
Yeah, and well, except for there's like a little bit towards the end where they put the music back up, and that's a sign that you need to start coming around and that you need to get out. And that's when I must have been like slowly rotating in the tank. So like where I thought I was no longer. So like I started like stroking for the door handle, and I was like, oh my God. It's not where I thought it would be. And like don't panic, and started like slightly like crawling the walls a little bit trying to get out. So that was a small like panicked moment. But apart from that, no, I thought it's like a really, it's nothing like anything I've ever experienced before. Like really peaceful, I
I
guess.
kind of describe or akin it to that moment when you're lying in bed and just before you're about to fall asleep. You don't really know where you are. You're not really fully conscious and your like physical self.
Mhm.
You're kind of drifting. You're not asleep. You're still kind of awake. It's kind of that's what physically. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
kind of think it is.
Yeah.
So what kind of revelations and what kind of things did you think about? If you're happy to talk about that.
Well, it was then that I realised that the relationship I was in was needed to end. So like it's quite a big one for a 1 hour float tank.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think
So you've been with your boyfriend for how long? Sorry, you did mention this before.
6 years. So it was about like
Right,
it was, I've been. I'd have to look this up.
We'll just edit Jack out. It'll be fine.
Make him invisible like an avatar.
He's going to be doing it. He's the producer.
So, yeah, it was just I'd been toying with lots of information, like ideas, and so like I need to think about this. I need to like do something about it for a while, and it was the first time I'd really had to face it. Like, where are you gonna go except for like look it square in the eye? So that's what. So like, a joke about now with Liam is like it was life changing. It actually was life changing. Yeah, it was actually life changing.
That's incredible that just an hour of time by yourself significantly impacted your life like that.
Hugely, like.
And did you expect that at all before going in? Did you think that was just not something that was on your mind? It was a complete surprise that that's what you came out with?
Not at all. I thought it would be a bit like a spa treatment. So I thought it would be like, oh, you kind of have it, yeah, like you feel a bit better for it. You feel more chilled. You like know when to go get. Like you feel like ready to face the world again.
That was Liam's take on it. He found it more of a physical healing sensation rather than a mental thing. For me, it was the mental side. It sounds like it was that for you as well.
Yeah, hugely. But I guess if you're like busy and you like don't ever let yourself just dwell on your thoughts, that's probably when you're gonna dwell on them.
Yeah, it's probably very healthy.
Lying in the pitch black, like okay.
Were you fully naked?
Oh yeah, but I thought that you had to go in there naked.
I went naked. I think you are supposed to go naked. Yeah.
I thought everyone went in naked.
I think you do. Yeah.
Jack, did you go naked?
Have you also done it?
Yeah. Well, I did after you. You did it, and then I did it. Then I was obviously sitting next to Liam at work, so I was talking to him about it. Then he ended up taking the dive. I think he's done it like I don't know,
3 or 4 times now.
4 or 5 times,
yeah.
something like that.
Oh right, he's done it a few times.
Yeah, but you say he had a problem with his shoulder, and then that's what he found beneficial. But yeah. I don't mind doing them naked, but since there's other podcasts I listen to where people have been doing things they shouldn't have been in there. So
they've done a wank in a tank.
Did a wank in a tank.
No, I did think when I was in there, like I was kind of floating around.
Is that why it's salty?
I was like, oh, I did think people must wank in here. Like they must. There's nothing else to do.
Does it get fully filtered afterwards?
Yeah, it's constantly filtered. Like it's always.
It's still not cool though.
No.
It's a bad thing that people masturbate in there.
It's a bad thing to do.
Do you think they do though?
I don't know. I think the people are better than that.
No, well, I did think that until it was Brendan Sharp, the ex-UFC fighter guy from The Fighter and the Kid.
Yeah.
He was talking about it, and it was pretty gross.
It's pretty gross. Yeah.
I did think when I was in there, I was like especially when you're just like, I bet people wank in here. Like I bet they do, but.
So
I didn't. To be honest, I was
just
like,
to clarify, Robyn did not masturbate in the tank.
I didn't do that in the tank, but I was like, I fucking bet some dirty scrotes do.
Yeah.
Anyway. Or that like probably our nearest and dearest do, and just don't tell her.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Masturbation aside.
So you're recently single then? 6 years a long time to be with someone.
Yep.
To be single, freshly single now. I'm just trying to think 6 years ago, 2012, a lot of the things that are available to single people now, such as Tinder and Instagram, all that sort of thing, would not have existed back then. How have you found being single, or is it just too early to tell? Because it's a whole new world.
Yeah, it's completely different.
Are you not quite in that mindset yet, or is it?
I don't think I am. Like, I think a lot of people have expected me to be, and there's more people than I really thought of being like, so you're getting Tinder now? I was like, well, it's been like 2 weeks and fucking no. But as in my friends who do it, and that's funny. When my 50-odd-year-old family members do it. That's sort of fucking horrible.
Your 50-year-old family member said
Well,
you should get Tinder.
Yeah, and when you get Tinder, can we play on it? Like, I'm really glad that my emotional well-being is the source of your fucking entertainment. So it's all brand new, I guess. Like, when I was last single, you went out to a club, you pulled,
You danced, you grinded up on someone.
you
If they
pulled.
didn't withdraw, then
It was a thing.
you were there.
Well, you know. But yeah, like, well, that's a whole new, like, exciting world to
That's
try
why,
and
yeah,
understand.
it'd be interesting to see what your take is on it in a year's time or something like that, having fully gone into it. Also, but my observation is that people do what you just described less, and they're more focused on hooking up on the app. So actually going out and pulling is probably occurring less and less.
Yeah, oh yeah. I don't know anyone who does that now.
Yeah, so, yeah.
But that's like, that was the fun. That was
Yeah.
like, those were the good old days.
People go out less now, I think.
Yeah.
Though. People get fucked up less. Nice.
But yeah, so it's like completely different now. I don't know what that looks like. And neither do any of my friends, because all my friends have been with their boyfriends for like 6+ years. So I'm like the absolute virgin.
Oh wow! So you like the tester? If you go out there and make it look stunning, then all your friends could just be following in your footsteps.
Absolute dropping the necks left, right, and centre.
Dropping their necks left, right, and centre. Just exactly that. Stole the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, that is that crack. So who knows? Who knows, Brett?
Would you like to play or end the podcast with a game of Would You Rather?
Yeah, obviously.
Absolutely. This
This is my jam.
Yeah, this is your jam. Here you got quite the talent. You gonna lay the questions, and Jack and I will jump in.
Yeah. You just need to be equipped with some alcohol, otherwise the game doesn't work.
I have a glass of wine. Jack, what are you doing?
I'll get a little sip of wine. We've got I think we've got about 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. That's fine.
2 seconds.
So the way it'll work is I'll present everyone with a scenario.
Just pass your glass there.
Oh God, this is an awful. So I'll present everyone with a scenario, and then the options are like there will be two answers. And as there's three of us, this works really well. Whoever's in the minority has to have a big drink, and it'll be two. Yeah. When I was at did English literature at Sheffield, I used to be the social secretary of the English Society. So my job was to get fresh as piss like endlessly. So this is my job. Okay.
Hope you don't think that was a cool thing to be, because
It wasn't. Shut up, nerd. Just get out from your camera. Okay, so I need to think of. Okay, so I'll start with a classic. Would you rather? This isn't dirty either. Have one really, really long arm, or be followed around constantly by a pack of chickens? And the chickens are there when you're sleeping, Brett. It's not just for the daytime.
I think having a really long arm would be a good thing.
That's
How long?
that's
How
why.
long?
I could.
Like fucking, as in you could put the kettle on.
Oh, what,
No,
like
no, that's
5-6 meters? Jesus.
Inconveniently long.
But like you would have to fold it up to go to bed and stuff.
Nah, chickens, I think.
I'll go on. Brett, you're the decider.
The chickens.
Yeah.
Are they fully grown chickens, or are any of them roosters?
No, they're just general chickens. They're just like cluck around you most
Like
of the
chicks,
time.
like little
What?
ones.
No, there's no babies.
Do they lay
There's
eggs?
no babies.
I was going to
They
say
might-
that'd be
some
really.
of them might lay eggs.
Can I kill any of them and eat them?
Are you thinking of your gains at this point?
No, you could just kill them all, I guess.
I do like eggs though.
I like
I
eggs
think I'd
too.
go chickens. Yeah, I think I'd go chickens.
Did you went long arm?
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
Long arm.
no.
Long arm, if it's like slightly longer, like me to the bottle of wine, yeah, I'd take long arm because that's kind of advantageous. But if it's freakishly long,
Oh no, it's freakishly long.
it disables you in
Absolutely
many other
freakishly long.
aspects of
Yeah,
life. so,
well, initially
like
I was thinking the chickens are going to be really socially awkward. So if you went to like a bar and you were followed by chickens, that'd be weird. But so would having a 6 foot arm, I guess.
Yeah,
Or 6
yeah.
meter arm, whatever it
that.
was.
You could. I think you could use the chickens to your advantage. Like I've been out in bars and seen girls with dogs and all kinds of dogs, and people flock to them.
That
So
is different. That is,
That's,
that's not the same.
that could not be more different.
there's got to be some weird chick girls out there.
Are you ready for the next one?
All right, next one, go.
Okay. Would you rather walk around all day, like your full working day, For a woman, it would be with your tit hanging out. For a boy, it would be just a little testicle, right? Or just flash everyone you know once. No, flash your family once. I'm going to take that back.
Oh, flash with family ones, easy.
Oh, really? I'd just probably go with the tit.
Well, what do you mean? You
I
wouldn't
would
want me to
probably go
out
around my
forever?
day-to-day with like a boob hanging
Forever?
out. No, just for one day.
I'd flash with family in a heartbeat.
You'd flash your family over rather just showing a testicle for
I'd-
For
I'd-
8
to a couple
hours.
of
I'd
colleagues.
do that sort of shit anyway, like find it funny. So
Yeah, he does. He
it's what
gets
it
his
is.
Or flash your
bare arse out.
family.
I got my bare arse out of work at my head of department.
Yeah, he
not
did.
not 2 weeks ago.
He did do that. He did do that.
I'll go testicle.
Yeah, fuck you.
Oh, you're weird.
How dark are we going?
Okay,
Going
next.
In a bad way.
Wait, let me check that. How long we have? We've got about 5 minutes.
Okay, I can do 2 more in 5
Yeah,
minutes.
two more.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do the one we were doing before. So, a pint of piss or a shot of, I'm going to say cum because of the audience.
What would you do? Because okay, so before we were talking about this, and it was okay,
Shot.
never mind. I'll answer the question first. I'll do the pint of piss.
Yeah,
Mhm.
same.
Really?
Pint of piss, yeah,
Weak?
definitely. No.
Weak?
I'm weak, or the piss is weak.
You are weak? Although a pint of piss wouldn't be that hard.
It's just a no, it's a
I'm
consistency.
not. Yeah, chowing down another man's juice. No
What if it
chance.
was yours?
Still no.
I don't even. No, it's the consistency of it. I think that puts me off. Piss is still like liquid. It's viscous.
I think you could just close your eyes and just get
Mm.
that done, but I think it'd be sick if it was alone.
Like people have drunk urine before. That's the thing.
Yeah,
I suppose so is gobbling cum.
yeah, people have done that.
That's quite massive in the Geordie masses. Okay, right, let's take one more.
What was your answer?
Mine was shotgun, easy. But I would do either because I'm really that
Sure.
hard.
Just a regular Friday night for.
Okay.
But now that Tinder's not a thing, or is a thing.
So okay, what we were talking about before, shot of cum or a shot of period juice. You don't know whose it is, either of them.
Come easy every time.
That's not a surprise. Not because it's you, just because that's gross.
Jerk!
Okay, last one.
Okay. No, I can't think of anything now. Can anyone else think of anything? I usually have them like lined up, but I wasn't prepared.
Mm.
All right.
Well, that's been
Wraps up.
awesome. Thanks so much for doing this. You had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been mint.
Great, awesome.
Cheers, Craig.
Come give me a hug.
Oh no! Oh, we did it!
Thanks so much for doing
Woo.
it. That was fun.
Check it, pull up. Yo, what up, Neff?
See, this is Harlem, these our streets.
Turn the music back up. Let's go. I got with Primo, I'm just pressing the G code. We on a new level with the C notes.